All right, good evening, everyone. We'll start. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
We'll move.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. Next, the motion to approve Board of Education meeting minutes for November 5th, 2020.
Move.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. All right, next we have patron comments, and we do have two comments tonight, so I'm going to read this information here about patron comments. During patron comments, citizens may address the Board of Education concerning issues related to the school district. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. We do not have multiple citizens talking the same topic. Please note that at the board's discretion, the Board of Superintendent may respond immediately to an issue raised during patron comments for clarification. However, our general practice is to respond to the comment at a later time via a phone call or written message if a response is needed. So we have a stand there with microphones ready so both the board and the audience may hear the patron comments clearly. Board meeting proceedings are also recorded and posted on Rockwood's YouTube channel. So this evening we do have two patron comments for your convenience. Our 3-minute clock will be ready. Bob Deneau. And we welcome Laura Baker to step forward.
Hi, I am here tonight to share some teacher voices. I know you have heard many already, but we have teachers who are interested in continuing to have concerns and wanted to express where they are at currently and just share more about their experience and the reality of where they are at currently. What I've done is I have some emails over here that were sent to me to present to you. So we have close to 300 teachers who wanted to reach out and just share some more to, again, express all kinds of opinions about where we are at. There are some who are very supportive and are doing well, and then there are others that indicate that our teachers are struggling. So again, I'm here to just share their voices. We want to just make sure that we are looking for solutions and improvements that consider the teachers as well. We're asking for support from the community represented by the Board of Education to not overlook our teachers' health and well-being when focusing on what's best for our students. So again, in doing whatever it takes for our kids, our teachers are exhausted. Many are physically and emotionally spent. We are asking for support from the community, again, to help us make decisions that balance the needs of all the stakeholders. So thank you very much.
Right, next we have Rob Caruso.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity again. You may remember I was here last time, and I'm here again to express my concern over the policy for the contact tracing of the students regarding positive COVID tests. If I didn't make it clear before, I think it is a very bad policy, and I'm hopeful that you'll reconsider and terminate it immediately. I also appreciate having the head nurse give me a call and put her in touch with me. It did help answer some questions, but it also raises a few more. I understand the determination of a close contact of a positive case is not only the interview or the potential interview of a student, but also using the seating charts and things of that nature. I'm going to assume that when you decided to implement this policy and establish what the criteria would be for contact tracing, that you all have given consideration to the fact that forcing students to go home for 14 days because they have been deemed close contact is likely to create some enemies, okay? Yeah, obviously if it's a, star athlete that happens to be named as a close contact, they're probably going to be pretty upset. Not only that, their teammates. We don't even want to talk about the coaches and how they're going to react, right? Also, the parents who have to, now change schedules to, arrange to be home with these students who are forced to stay home. I think that's creating the potential for a lot of tension. Also, when you agree to provide the information to the county government, I assume you understand whatever potential actions the county might take, and including maybe having an officer show up at the person's door if they don't respond in a timely fashion to the contact tracers inquiries. If you're okay with that, I assume. I wonder how you would feel if you were denied access to something that you were, felt you were entitled to, whether it was, an event, an airplane, a train, a job, an office building, a university education. And lastly, because I know time's getting short here, the main thing, any policy that you implement, technology is going to come into play to make things more efficient and more useful. Obviously, there's already databases in place for, this record keeping. We don't know how these databases are shared with this information with other organizations. Obviously, instead of seating charts, we could move to, cameras and facial recognition, GPS for tracking individuals. These are all things that could, ultimately be the future of contact tracing. And, I wish you all would really consider that, these potential problems down the road, and understand that, currently I'm assuming, you're all part of the decision and the policy, and so I feel like, you own it, and, not only what it is now, but what it will turn into in the future. And I think it's a real potential problem in a lot of areas that I've tried to, express here tonight. So again, I hope you'll reconsider and terminate this policy of contact tracing and, establishing, close contacts under whatever criteria force perfectly healthy students to be quarantined and stay home for 14 days. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
All right, next I need a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So move.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All right, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. All right, next we have a presentation. Oh, I forgot about, I am so sorry, our superintendent, Dr. Mark Miles.
Just have a couple of comments this evening.
Sorry, Dr.
It's okay.
Miles.
So just a few comments this evening. Thank you, Mrs. Mondel. As we continue to experience the changing course of COVID-19 in our lives and our community, I've asked our staff members and families to simply join me in the future possibility of a short-term return to fully remote learning for students. And I want to stress those words, future possibility. While 14-day quarantines for close contacts of positive COVID-19 cases are important mitigation efforts to help us stem the spread of this disease, they're also resulting in some challenges with staffing in some of our schools. As you recently know, we placed Utah Valley really on a 14-day quarantine and suspended in-person learning there, moved them to remote until November 30th. As we analyze the future possibility of a return to full remote learning, we anticipate making those decisions by individual classrooms, grade levels, or schools to minimize the impact district-wide. And we have shared this via communication from me and on the website as well. Be assured our goal remains the same, and that is to allow our students who have selected in-person learning to continue with that option. As we head into the Thanksgiving holidays, I ask the entire Rockwood community to continue joining us in practicing Rockwood Safe Together mitigation strategies such as mask wearing, social distancing, and monitoring ourselves and loved ones for symptoms of COVID-19. The battle against COVID-19 continues. Next, as part of our continued efforts to help keep our students and staff as safe as possible, we have updated our health indicators on our website to include cases and quarantines for students and staff in each school. We had previously reported those district-wide. There's much more data available at this point. The dashboard will now be updated 3 times per week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, to ensure our communities have as much information as possible and that they are provided the latest updates. Our school nurses and contact tracing teams, that amounts to a group of about 140 individuals district-wide, work each day to document positive cases and quarantines in the district, as well as identifying and informing close contacts of the need to quarantine. So we can't thank them enough. Their work is invaluable in this endeavor. Next, our Rockwood educators have been asked to balance teaching our learners in both our at-home and in-person models. Our teachers have been going above and beyond during this time, and we cannot thank them enough. At the same time, we're currently looking for ways that we can support our teachers as we continue through the school year. Second semester is on its way. Our rapid response teams have convened so that we may hear the voices of students, teachers, staff members, and families as we continue to explore ways to support our educators. One consideration for the rapid response teams is a review of dedicated virtual sections for at-home learners during the second semester. As we move forward, the rapid response teams will be connecting with people and attempting to unify our response throughout the district so that we do what is best for our students and our teachers. On a different note, other than COVID-19, Rockwood parents, teachers, staff, and community members now have the opportunity to nominate a hardworking support staff member for a Cornerstone Award. Do you have any former Cornerstone Award winners here with us this evening? No? Okay. The Cornerstone Awards program recognizes Rockwood support staff members who demonstrate outstanding service and commitment to the district, and they are presented to 6 individuals each year. These employees represent a vital part of our district, and we want them to know how much their contributions mean to everyone. Please visit our district website, rsdmo.org, for more information on the awards and how to nominate a deserving staff member. There are so many deserving. Finally tonight, back on COVID-19, I'd like to reach out to our Rockwood community with a reminder to remember our Rockwood Safe Together mitigation practices. We're watching positivity and transmission rates trend in the wrong direction in St. Louis County. And we all have a responsibility on behalf of the children in our community to do the right thing, especially as we approach the holiday season. So let's roll that footage, please.
Hello, Rockwood School community. I'm reaching out to you today to ask you for your help. If you've checked our numbers on the Rockwood Health Indicator dashboard, you'll notice an increase in positive cases and quarantines in some of our schools. We began our gradual phase-in plan to bring students back to school in late September. Since that time, we have had a number of positive cases and quarantines for students and staff within our 32 school locations. This includes the addition of our high school activities programs. The number of positive cases and quarantines remains a concern. We know these numbers include the individuals who were exposed to the virus off campus. When we have a positive case in a school, our school nurses and contact tracing teams work to confirm cases and quarantine individuals deemed close contacts. We believe it's important to continue to follow the quarantine guidelines from the CDC and the St. Louis County Department of Public Health. We believe quarantines identified through close contact tracing are a useful tool to prevent the spread of the virus in our schools and our community. I am inspired by the work of our teachers, our principals, and our staff members who are doing everything they can to keep our schools open and to care for our children. I'm reaching out to you today to ask you to remember and follow our Rockwood Safe Together practices. This means that we wear a mask, wash and sanitize our hands, maintain social distance, and don't come to school when we are sick. We must also remember to stay at home and isolate when waiting for testing results. This approach to prevention is what every member of our community needs to remember. We must also be attentive to our St. Louis County community health indicators. As a community, we are watching positivity and transmission rates trend in the wrong direction in cities throughout St. Louis County. We all have a responsibility on behalf of the children in our community to do the right thing. We know that keeping our schools safe is a community-wide endeavor. That is why we will continue with our established quarantine processes at this time. Our battle is against the COVID-19 virus. This battle will require every one of us to practice the mitigation strategies we depend on every day. In Rockwood, our goal is to provide our families a choice: in-person education or virtual learning. We want to keep our schools open for our students and staff. Please help us. We must remain vigilant. We ask you to join us in the effort to keep health and safety the first priority for our students, teachers, staff, and community. Thank you.
So just a friendly reminder from your superintendent, and as this is our final board meeting prior to Thanksgiving, I just want to wish the entire board and our entire community a happy Thanksgiving. I hope everyone remains safe and healthy. That is all I have this evening.
I apologize, Dr. Miles.
No apology
I'm
needed.
sorry. All right, so that motion was to approve the consent agenda items as submitted. Right, Janet? We good? Okay, so all those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. All right, next we have a COPE committee presentation committing to equity, access, and inclusion. I have Jess Jones and Terry Harris. Dr. Harris, how are you? Jess Jones.
We're here. Just want to let you know we made it. All right, thank you so much for having us. As you know, part of our way forward, we have equity, access, and inclusion as a topic. Earlier this summer, the board approved the proclamation or the resolution. Mid-October, Brittany came to speak before the board to talk about racial equity and all the plans that we have in the Rockwood School District. And I asked Jess Jones, who is an educational consultant and a leader in transgender students specifically, but LGBTQ plus students. And this is a topic that is extremely relevant. Yesterday, I received a phone call from a principal at an elementary school asking how to support a student who identifies as a trans student, and what resources do we have available for the family. What PD will we offer our counselors as we try to navigate this? How then do we educate the other students and help them understand? Earlier this school year, I know Director Bays, and I'm not really for sure, maybe Laura Lee was on the call as well, but spoke to a parent, a concerned parent at one of our elementary or middle schools. And for the last 3 or 4 years, every single year we have a group of students at the high schools who are advocating and asking for more support from a district standpoint in supporting our students. So with that said, this topic is at our front door, and as we continue to ask, and how are the children, we have to make sure that all the children are well. And this is a group of students who we probably have not publicly talked about as much as we needed to. And so we wanted to start that conversation so that these kids and their families can understand and know that the Rockwood School District supports them, we love them, and we want to see them do well. So Jess is going to give a quick presentation and really talk about our plan moving forward. This is just a very high-level highlight, and just like the plan that Brittany highlighted a couple of months ago, we have a plan moving forward for our students in this group. Hopefully next month or early January, I will be back here talking about equity, access, and inclusion, and looking at students with special needs. And then we will continue to go from there. So what we want to everyone to know is that all of our students matter, and that obviously we know that, but we want to select and highlight students that we know need more attention to as we support our students. So Jess is a leader in this region and is with us today, and I'm so happy that we're going to partner with the firm as we start to support our students. So I turn it over to Jess.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Good evening. My name is Jess Jones. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the director of Jess Jones Education and Consulting. This is an initiative that I founded after my years spent as an openly queer and transgender public school teacher. It's a product of my experiences, myself as an educator, and also supporting our LGBTQ students, staff, and families. That experience has given me a lot of firsthand insight into the needs and challenges of this population, and as I've transitioned out of the classroom, this has become my full-time labor and work, and it's really a labor of love because I see that we care deeply for our children in our community, but we don't necessarily have the information and resources to fully support them. So I'm really grateful to now utilize that experience along with research and evidence-based practice to ensure that we're truly committed to supporting all of our students and staff. So this evening I'll be sharing some information with the board on how we can ensure that we are being truly committed to supporting the LGBTQ members of the Rockwood School District community. So GLSEN is a national organization that for 20 years has been conducting a national school climate survey of LGBTQ students. And more recently, they started doing state snapshots. So we have here some data that's pulled both nationally and from Missouri specifically that paints a picture of the realities of school for our LGBTQ students. So we see that nearly all LGBTQ students overhear regularly remarks that are negative about their gender expression or their sexual orientation. So every day they're coming into school and facing these remarks, either from their peers, they might hear from staff, and we can imagine the kind of culture and climate that creates for them, that it's not a school environment that they will thrive in. Also concerning is that 59% of students have felt unsafe at school because of their identity, and many of them have reported experiences of harassment, bullying, assault, either in person at school or online. And lastly, this is a Missouri-specific statistic that 72% of transgender students report not being able to use a bathroom that aligns with their gender identity. And this is a topic that's highly politicized. However, really students really just need to address their bodily functions just like anyone. And most commonly in my work with transgender students, what I find is that in response to not being able to use the bathroom that aligns with their gender, they will dehydrate. So meaning they will avoid consuming liquids throughout the school day so that they don't even need to bother with going to the bathroom, which unfortunately I've seen often result in medical concerns for students. So this is a concerning practice. So all of these things lead to a host of problems. So research across time has consistently painted a pretty horrific picture for us in the experiences of LGBTQ youth. We see across the board with substance use, homelessness, graduation rates, you name it, not having support at school is detrimental to their ability to succeed both in the district and after graduation. So in my time working with the families of transgender youth, the statistics we have really are low in terms of how we estimate these problems play out. For example, this is always a difficult statistic to share, but research has found that when surveyed, they found that 40% of transgender people will attempt suicide at some point in their lifetime. And that's not accounting for depression, anxiety, or suicidality in general. Those are actual attempts on their life. And we also find that 92% of those attempts happen before the age of 25. So what that information tells us is how crucial our time with these students is, that we have the ability to make an impact on them and make sure that these things are not happening to them, that they're coming into a school environment, that they know that they have folks in their corner. And like I said, those rates are low. And those rates are even higher for students who exist at the intersection of other marginalized identities. So our LGBTQ students who are also people of color or disabled, the rates of all of these issues are through the roof. And in my experience working with families in Missouri and Illinois, that suicide statistic seems low. I can't tell you how many families I've worked with who are encouraging a youth to come to school every day in spite of anxiety, knowing that they're not going to be called the right name, they're not going to be called the right pronouns, they don't have a bathroom to use. They might not know that there's any adult in their corner. And, over the years, I can't tell you how many youth I've had look me in the eye and tell me, some youth as young as 8 years old, that they would rather die than be in this world as who they are, because they are continually receiving the messaging that they are unloved and they're unsupported and they're wrong. And we can't do that to our kids. This is not a political issue, it's not a religious issue. This is really the underlying value that all of our students matter and their lives matter. We can't continue to be unsupportive or silent on this issue because of this. And with the COVID pandemic and the mental health crisis coming from that alone, I'm honestly terrified of what the school year holds for our LGBTQ students, many of whom might be at home with an unsupportive family and no adult in their corner. Another statistic that I didn't share up here was that in Missouri, we found that only 32% of students report that they feel even somewhat confident that their school leadership team supports them. So that's the vast majority of our kids who are coming into school every day not knowing that they have anyone in their corner. And Rockwood is actually one of the few districts in the state who explicitly protects these students. So we really have an obligation as leaders to show what that looks like and demonstrate what that support looks like for our students. So as I said, this is not an issue of politics or religion. At its heart, we need to come together under the value that our students' lives matter. I don't know anyone who works in education who doesn't care deeply about our youth. And regardless of your personal conviction, I think we can all agree that we need to do something. And I'm not interested in changing anyone's personal beliefs. I just really want us to make sure that these students are thriving and not having to face these issues that their non-LGBTQ peers aren't having to face at the same rates. So in my work with districts, I offer a whole school approach, meaning that I like to address this problem from multiple levels. This really takes the whole community to come together to support our youth. So my first recommendation is to ensure that our school leadership are equipped with the skills, knowledge, and training to be able to support staff and the community in supporting our LGBTQ youth. So we'll be holding a training specifically for administrators, and a part of that is working with the community and understand that we are a diverse community, and there are going to be concerns among community and parents, and how we can assure folks that we have all students' best interests in mind. Secondly, we'll be working with student services staff to ensure that they are equipped with the knowledge and skill set to address mental health, academic, socio-emotional concerns, and make sure that they know how to be gender affirming in those practices and connect students with resources. So this is an overview of what the administrative training will entail. But it will cover some foundational information and ensure that they're equipped with best practices for ensuring LGBTQ inclusion. And then likewise, this is the agenda and objective for student services. All right. And I'd like to open it for questions and discussion.
Jess, do you have any speculation or research on why so many of the LGBTQ plus students are harassed or remarks are made about? Do you have any speculation or research on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And really it stems from, the historic stigma around those identities. There's a lot of stereotypes and misinformation out there that a lot of folks come in contact with, and that informs what kids are being taught at home. It's in media that they consume. Really, that messaging is everywhere. It's something that I encounter in my life, and it's hurtful. So it's understandable that peers and staff and they're hearing it from all angles. So that's my speculation on where that comes from.
Is that be a one-time comment or several comments? Or can you differentiate, or that 99%, did that represent at least one comment or something like that?
Said frequently. I'm not sure how they defined frequently, though. I could find that information
Once
out.
every 5 years?
Ooh, I would think more often than that. Yeah, I know from my personal experience working with students, for many of them it's every day. It's just like we see with other forms of bullying. It's pretty persistent. Sometimes it comes from the same student over and over. And the bullying can be very severe. I think of one student I worked with where he was called names every day he walked down the hallway. He was pushed into lockers. It even escalated to the point where another student pushed him down the stairs at school. So from my experience, it's daily for our kids, unfortunately.
Speculate also, it's never going to really be solved or even come close until the society recognizes the LGBTQ students.
Could you repeat that?
Do you also recognize it's never going to be helped or cured until society in general recognizes the rights of LGBTQ students?
Absolutely. Like, this needs to be not just a shift within our schools, but a cultural shift. And that's why, when I'm doing this work with districts, I ensure that the community is brought along in that, because we do need folks at home to be teaching that all lives matter. We can't have misinformation and stereotypes being taught at home. And for a number of districts, I've actually offered parent information nights where parents can come in and receive accurate information around gender identity and sexual orientation.
It's amazing how we allow some people just to live the life they want and how they want to, but then other people we want to judge and help and try to make them change their life or something like that.
Absolutely. It definitely creates an uphill battle for our youth, and I know, unfortunately, I've personally experienced that as an LGBTQ person.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A question for, I think, maybe Dr. Harris. Have we implemented pronoun preferences for our teachers and staff?
No. However, Deb and I did some work this semester, updating some forms, and we're getting there. So I suspect that probably in August, when we roll out the new forms, we'll be there. But part of that, Tammy, is we didn't want to do that without the education piece. But I think that to some of the points that Keith is getting at, we're trying to bring society on along the way. And so when we start talking about pronouns, and we're just not there. We haven't really offered district-wide, staff-wide PD in this area. And I think that we want to do that first and then start to have the conversation about pronouns.
And as we have those conversations, hopefully we're bringing along people like our librarians that can have like materials in front of our students.
That's a really good point. I would say that Shelley and the library team, honestly, they're probably further along. I think that our librarians do an amazing job of trying to highlight different students. I think that we can always, do better and do more. But that's one group, I would honestly say, they're doing a very decent job of consciously, intentionally trying to make sure that all students are represented in literature. Any other questions for myself or Jess?
I don't have a question, but, with all the things that are going on in our lives right now, I'm really glad that this presentation was brought to us right now, because, we hear it from everyone all over the place about what's the right thing to do right now regarding COVID. And, you know, it doesn't matter if COVID's around or not. This is, darn it, Terry Harris, you always have to bring something to us that just really makes us challenge ourselves to do better for our kids. And so I really appreciate this. I appreciate the COPE committee bringing this to us, and I hope you keep us updated, because I think, Jess, you sound like the work you're doing is pretty phenomenal work. So I hope you keep us updated on this, of how we're doing, because this is very important stuff. So thank you.
I just would end by saying that thank you to the COPE committee, because I mean this came out of the COPE committee. As we start to celebrate the holiday, I would say thank you to all the board members. I hope that you have a wonderful time with your families. I know this has been a very rocky year, and people probably don't say this with their 3 minutes of public or patron comments, but I appreciate all of you. I'm grateful to work for you, and just thank you for allowing us to do what we need to do for students. I really appreciate you guys. You're amazing. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jess.
Success.
All right, Paul Northington is with us. We need a motion to approve the bond issue purchases and related contracts, $7,500 to $150,000 as submitted.
Okay.
Motion and a second. All right, what do you have, Paul?
Good evening. Just one item here, a smaller dollar scope. This is to do the replacement of some windows at the salvage gymnasium. We have about 16 windows that need replacing. They're original to the building, so they're about 50 years old. We put that out to bid, received 2 bids, and Kirkwood Glass was the low. And we've had experience with them. They've done good work for the district. Total cost is a little over $11,000. It's part of our cycle maintenance 2017 bond issue money.
So Paul, will these windows last another 50 years?
Well, I hope so. I'll ask Chris if he can get that guarantee for us. I tell you what it will do, it'll get me through my term, I know that.
All right. Other questions or comments? All right, so that motion is to approve that bond issue purchase. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Proposed agenda for the December 3rd, 2020 Board of Education meeting. What's in there, Janet? I can't see.
It's a pretty light meeting right now.
I like it. Anybody have anything to add?
We're going to add a COPE update to that one. Janet
Yeah.
and I talked about that
Yep.
today. It's not on there, is it? Yeah.
No.
So that'll be added on there, and we'll just a quick update on the things that we talked about Monday at our work session.
Good.
So,
Excellent. And talking about our work session, we are receiving emails. Do we have something that are we close to getting some of those?
So COPE is going to meet virtually on Monday
Okay, good.
morning,
Okay.
and we'll go through that. And then the next step from there, we think right now is we'll review the protocols from Janet Tilley, go through the emails or the documents that we sent around on Monday. We will have Janet send that out to the board for you all to take a look at and see if there's anything that you want to change about our responses, those 3 responses. We'll work with Kathy and David and the communications team to get the piece of the website updated regarding the board, and then we'll just get that plan in place. So at the December 3rd meeting, we'll give you a verbal update about all of that at that time.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, future agenda presentations and events to attend. Janet's shaking her head no.
All the chamber meetings pretty much went back to virtual, so
Yeah.
I'll just keep updating you every week
Yep.
on those.
Yep, appreciate it. Anything else? All right, adjourn the meeting. I know I clicked on there, but I did.